What is up? So this is hopefully the first video in many videos about this thing behind me. I'm going to be doing some videos over my 88 Grand Wagoneer, and I'm going to use these videos as a way to keep me working on it because I've had it for 6 years and it still doesn't run. So I bought this thing I think 6 years ago because Facebook just popped up and said 6 years ago, and there was me buying parts and had an exhaust manifold in my living room. So I bought this 6 years ago for $4,500. I thought that was a good price at the time because the body was really good and the interior was really good. It didn't run quite right, but I thought I'd work on it. So I ended up driving it home. No, we trailered it home, but I ended up driving it. It's just low power. So the first thing it needed was tires. The tires were absolutely rotted and did not hold air. So I went ahead and lifted it, put it on some 35s. And then I had my buddy do that. I was in nursing school at the time, didn't have a lot of time, and I was living in a pretty nice apartment complex that frowned upon you working on your vehicles in their parking lot. So I had my buddy do it. I paid him like $300 to throw a lift kit on it and some tires. And then what do you do first? You change the oil. So I changed the oil, and the previous owner or the previous owner, who knows, put a different oil filter adapter on it. This is an AMC 360 with a Torque Flight 727, and it's an 88. I'm not sure if it's the original engine. I didn't check the numbers, but I went to O'Reilly's, asked for an 88 oil filter, put it on there in the dark, and then I drove it like 2 miles to the store and back. And by the time we got back, we were hearing some lifter ticks, some pretty bad sounds coming from it. And where I had parked previously was all of my oil was on the floor. So I took the oil filter adapter off, took it to O'Reilly's with me. We figured out what oil filter it needed, put it back on, did another oil change, and we were mildly concerned because it wasn't that bad. There wasn't any shavings when we checked, and so that wasn't a very good sign. Maybe the engine was so bad to begin with because it had low power that we couldn't even hurt it that much more. So I told that same guy, let's go ahead, pull the engine, rebuild it. So he did. He pulled it that night and sent me a picture of the pistons. Every single piston was showing its rings, had chunks out of it, showing its rings, and it still ran. Still drove it. So we went down the rebuild route. He had it forever. I paid him like $400, and I told him I'd pay him more later when he worked on it some more. He had it forever. He sent it to a machine shop, the engine. I think that guy died, and then his son took over, and his son really didn't have his heart and soul in it and wasn't doing it full time. So it was just taking forever, and because of he wasn't really into it, and there was a communication breakdown. He thought it was a Chrysler 360 or Mopar 360. AMC was its own company back then, and it was different. So he ordered parts, and I'm getting kind of angry because it's taken forever to do this, and I get a text message that say these pistons that I got won't work. After we talked about what it is, I said, nope, it's an AMC 360. It's not a Chrysler. It's not a Mopar. He said, well, I can't return these parts. It's been too long, because he wasn't working on it. He said, so you'd have to order more pistons, and that was going to be, like $400. He said, or we can bore it 30 over more. I already had him bore it 30 over. And I should have had him sleeve it, but I didn't. I was really tired of this guy taking forever to get my engine built. I said, screw it. So we bored it total of 60 over, and he got it back to my buddy who was working on it. Well, 3 months, I think, went by, and he wouldn't do anything with it. And I'd moved, because he had it for like a year. It was out of my possession for a year. and I had moved, and I was like, you know what, I'll work on it in the parking lot. So I want it back. So I paid him another 400. I think I paid him like $800 total. I can't really remember. Um, got it back, and it had no alternator on it. It had no water pump. The radiator wasn't hooked up. The intake manifold wasn't on it. The carburetor had never been installed. So I did all of that myself. Mind you, nurse. Um, so I know like maybe the pulleys and stuff need to be worked on. But a big thing, and I wonder if I can find it. Probably not. Maybe in a different video. But there was this linkage that was just a piece of rod connected to another piece of rod. And when the carburetor pulled on that, it made that rod rotate, which then pulled on another rod. And that was the throttle valve cable to the transmission, which never worked right either. I wanted to replace that with a kickdown, well, not a kickdown, just it's a low-cal, I think that's the name, low-cal cable kit to be cable instead of linkage, because that linkage was horrible. So I got one of those. I didn't install it. I kept with the linkage for just then, but it sat at my apartment for a while, and I don't know who did it, but somebody, I think it was my ex, scratched "fuck you bitch" on the side of it, and then used a valve stem tool to deflate two of my tires. So I come home from Thanksgiving in my Jeep, which is 6-inch lift on 35s, is riding on the rims of the one side, and I mean, it was like this. So I took it to the tire shop. They thankfully for free replaced my valve stems, and then I told my brother, I was like, hey, you got to come get this because someone's vandalizing it. I got to get it out of here. So he shows up with a trailer. He lives about an hour away. He's going to take it to my parents who live in the same town. And I said, it runs, it drives. We can just put it on it runs and drives enough to put it on the trailer. So he shows up with the big old gooseneck drive-on trailer, and I get it to the ramp, and the engine is brand new, board 60 over, high horsepower cam. Well, not crazy high, but a fatter cam in it. The exhaust manifold, or the intake manifold, it was just better. Sounded good. And then the transmission was bone stock piece of shit thing that just leaks oil just sitting there, or leaks fluid just sitting there. So I think the transmission was not happy with the newfound torque in the engine, and the transmission nuked itself as I was trying to pull it on the trailer. So we pushed it on the trailer with my other Jeep. And he took it home, and it sat there for maybe 2 years. And then I bought this house, and I moved it into my garage, and it's been in here ever since. So things I have to do to it. I put a new I put a used transmission. I got a donor engine and transmission combo for like $200. He said it was running and driving, but the person who had installed it didn't do the intake manifold right on that engine. So he just pulled everything, and he put like the 401 in it. Or is it 401 or 420? I can't remember. The big Jeep engine. So he didn't need that. So I got it for steel, and on my own, I bench pressed that transmission up into there. And that was a huge pain. And then I do have the linkage installed, the new cable. So things I have to do. Does it shift? I don't know what gear it's in, because all that's it's really loose, doesn't feel like it's shifting. I got to figure that out. Does the transmission work? Do I need to put fluids? I'm pretty sure that I need to put in transmission fluid and start it up, get it to drink, and then put more transmission fluid in it. I'm going to make a list of things that I need to do. Does it start? Should. started before. Does it leak anywhere? Probably. There's a puddle under it already. I don't know what it's from. Let's see. Will it catch on fire? So the thing is, I bought a Camaro. I don't know, 4 years ago. I don't remember. But I always wanted one. I got a 5th gen 2013 Camaro. It has less than 50, I think it has 54,000 miles on it. My very first vehicle was a Jeep Wagoneer, the little one, the little XJs with the 4.0 liter, straight 6. Highly recommend. Then my second vehicle was a year older, same car. And then I got me a Jeep Cherokee, Grand Cherokee. And I was progressively getting bigger and bigger vehicles until one day a guy who's like an inch shorter than me got into my car with me, and he says, "Oh my God, how do you fit in here?" I said, "What are you talking about?" Well, I was hunched over like this driving. He's like, "Sit up straight," and my head was touching the roof and everything. So then I got a Wrangler, lots of headroom. But then I got my Camaro, and just recently, for some reason, maybe it's because I drive a truck now and I fixed my posture a little bit, but I've noticed that my head rubs the top. So what I want to do is I want to sell my Camaro. It still has less than 60,000 miles on it. I want to sell my Camaro and get a newer, like a 6th gen, maybe a ZL1. But I can't sell my Camaro and not have this run because I need 2 vehicles just in case my truck shits out on me. So I am in the financial standpoint where I'm going to pay that Camaro off by the end of winter. And so that gives me, a good 6 months to get this running. But if I get this running, then I'll have a second car and I can sell my Camaro. If I don't get it running by next spring and I pay off the Camaro, I think I'll just sell the Camaro, hopefully for around $25,000, and throw some money at it. Maybe it will, throw a piston through the wall, and I'll have to, probably throw a 350 Chevy in it. I won't do that. I'll have a shop do that. But hopefully I can get this running because I put a lot of work into this. I have learned so much. So let's look at it. All right. So we got HEI distributor, Edelbrock carburetor. Everything else is pretty original. This is a high flow radiator because it's board 60 over. I'm worried about overheating, and it does have a high flow water pump. This is my linkage that I need to work on. When this is at full throttle, it pulls on that there, which is the kickdown cable, the throttle valve cable. And my problem was it came with, focus, there we go. It came like this, and it says that you have to cut this in adjustment. So I did. Well, then the end frayed. Come on. It doesn't want to focus. There's too much stuff. Well, you get it. The end frayed, and I wasn't able to put it back together. So it is being held together with duct tape. It works. It's just not great. So I'll fix that. Get it running is the main part. Other than that, I also, let's look at the inside. Oh, you're not gonna be able to see. Let's turn the flash on. There we go. I installed a twin stick double shifter for the transfer case. It is locked up. It is not happy. I don't know why. I can't get it to shift. Everything looks hunky-dory down there, but got to figure that out too. So I think the next video, I'll do a build sheet. And we'll look at some stuff. Let's see if I can zoom out. Yeah. So there she is. 88 grand wagoneer. I have a couple options. Right here is the Rhino grill that I could put on it. Excuse my mess. I also need to clean all this crap up. I'm trying to insulate. And over here I have a couple of grills. I think that metal one's all bent up. But the black one, that pig nose grill, I might go with that one. I don't know. We're not there yet. So really, I could start it. But what I think I'm going to do is put it on jack stands, because I don't know if it's in gear or not. And then if I can start it, see if it leaks any fluids. Check the fluids, start it, see if the wheels are moving, see if I can put it in gear. Needs battery. I have a battery, obviously. But yeah, that will be in the future.